Welcome back to the program, everyone. I am so excited to introduce you to our next guest. Ever since I knew who was going to be on the program this month, couldn't wait to have them here. So this is Michelle and her brother, twin brother, Tom, last name Larson. Welcome to the program, you guys.
Thank
you. And you look like pretty ordinary young people in this village, but you're here for a certain special story to tell, right?
Yeah.
And I was looking at some pictures of you prior to taping, Tom, and doesn't look at all like you. You look like an entirely different person. Some kind of metamorphosis happened here.
Absolutely.
So where does this story begin? How long ago does your story begin?
Far away land, no.
Yeah.
And so, gosh, well, I was always overweight as far as that goes, so.
So we're here to talk about weight loss.
Weight loss, all right, yeah.
Okay,
Weight loss, health,
fun.
transformation, yeah.
People like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good. And so anyway, I mean, I guess as far as the gaining weight goes, I was always a little bit overweight, and then once school hit, I was in football, I was lifting and stuff, but I was still just always eating, and it was like, okay, it's normal to be the big guy, you know.
What was your top number?
The top number, well, so then through my senior year of high school, and then freshman year of college, I ballooned up to the highest I ever weighed myself at was 353 pounds.
Ooh, 353.
353. That was the highest I ever weighed.
Looks like you've lost some of that.
I've lost a little bit, yeah. So now I'm right around the 180-ish mark.
You know what? Before I go, I see under the table something. Why don't you stand and
These
give,
are my
give a
motivators.
comparison here to the audience?
So
what
this was
353 pounds fills.
These were my biggest jeans I ever had.
Wow! Well, I do believe two of you could fit in there.
Yeah, I definitely think
You really filled that.
Oh, this was not even just filled. These were tight.
They were tight on you.
I literally remember putting them on in my dorm room, and yeah, there wasn't an inch to spare on these.
And you felt okay, comfortable with your life at that time?
No.
No.
And you know, and that's what I tell people that all the time, that no matter what anyone says who's fat, and you know, oh, I'm happy anyway, and you know, no one's truly happy. You know, and I was a happy guy. Everyone always said you're always happy, you're always smiling, and I generally am and was a happy guy, but you know, you're never really in your optimal form, so you can't ever truly be happy. And you know, I was watching life pass me by, and that was the facts, you know, and yeah, you can have a lot of twins.
So were you both dealing, well, how did you feel about your brother at that time, Michelle?
When he was at his heaviest? Well, I was pretty heavy too. I was tipping the scales at 287, so I was almost
Did you bring jeans?
I didn't. You know, I got rid of all of them. I regret it, but I got rid of them kind of as a, you will never wear these ever again.
That's a good idea.
Get them out of here.
You know, some people, when they're going through weight loss, they'll say, well, I'll put these aside. You never know if I'll need them again. But if you set your mind to, I am not going to, then you might as well get rid of those. You're not planning to use them again.
But then where's the wow factor like right now?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that is a good wow factor. So now you started this journey together?
He started, I'd say, a couple months before me, and he was dropping weight pretty quickly.
Did he tell you what he was about to do?
No, I don't really think he talked about it too much. It just kind of happened, and then
you saw things.
I could notice it, and you know, we did go away to school together for the first 2 years, but so I did notice his transformation, like coming pretty quickly, and so I jumped on board. I did Weight Watchers, and I still currently do, and people would always, you know, tell me how great he looked, and oh my gosh, your brother's losing so much weight, and you know, I wanted to hear that too.
Right.
So.
Well, you know, there's something not fair here, though, for us women. Men can lose body fat quicker than women because Mother Nature wants us to hang on to our fat.
Yeah.
So you had an advantage.
Yeah, definitely.
So the pounds were dropping quicker?
Yeah, they were dropping quick. You know, and that's kind of I always tell people that's my personality. I wasn't just going to gain weight. You know, I was going to get to 353, and then I wasn't just going to lose weight. I mean, I was going to, you know, lose half my body and run a marathon. You know, and that's kind of my thing's been balanced lately. I tend to live in extremes. So that's kind of the problem where But
don't you find once this starts to happen, you get so excited, and it just becomes like
I tell people that's
cycle.
That's why I kept those jeans, and I have that journal that I was showing you, and things from those days, because I don't. It's like the worst time that, or the best time I would never want to do again is the way I look at it. Where it was horrible. It was rock bottom. There's so many things, but I knew at that moment, I knew I'd be sitting in this situation. I knew it. I knew at 350.
What a motivator.
And it was just, I mean, it's truth, so that's why it's genuine, because I knew, and it was, you know, I'd come back home, I didn't have to tell anyone. I wasn't telling anyone I was going to lose weight. I didn't tell anyone I was going to get to under 200 pounds. You know, at 350, it's, you know, what? You know, imagine losing 50 pounds and still weighing 300.
Cheers. I think something like this should be on TV, or if not on TV, it should at least be in People magazine.
Yeah,
And indeed it was?
It was, yes. We got
Now, how did
lucky.
People Magazine hear of your story?
I had some previous experience as far as having a little bit of recognition. When I was in college, on top of that goal of, when I was losing weight, I used to rip out. I shared about that too. I had a Men's Health magazine, but they have the Belly Up Club every month, they call it, and they profile a big weight loss story from all around the country, one person a month, and that was a huge just pipe dream. I was like, I'm 350. If I get to 200 pounds, I'll have the numbers, So I'd rip them out every month, and I had it on my wall, written in college, Belly Off Club, and just kind of, I wasn't half the time I didn't even think about it, and then sitting there one day, here I am, 150 pounds down, and I'm like, no one knows your story unless you share it. So I wrote them an email, and that came to fruition. Yeah, and I ended up getting in Men's Health in 2009, and that was awesome. So I knew through that experience that no one knows your story unless you share it. So I sent an email about a year ago this month to one of the editors of People and just shared this whole story and about what we want to do and how we always loved that People magazine, especially for, when we were big and even losing it. The half their size issue. That's why we loved
Well,
the
Michelle,
People.
how has this journey been for you? Have you found it difficult to lose and difficult to maintain?
Yes, I have. I still, he's at his goal, pretty much, and he's been maintaining this weight for a while, and I still have about 40 pounds to go. So I still, struggle to stay where I'm at and also lose more weight. But he's definitely a great motivator, and now that he's a personal trainer, I kind of get to take
you
advantage
didn't tell me
of
that.
Yeah, so
Whoa, you've really gone the whole route.
Yeah, so it's something I want.
And who better to understand now when people come to you? You can say, I've been there.
Yeah, and I've had numerous clients. Oh, you don't know what it's like. You've been fit your whole life, and then I show them those pictures and.
Oh, look at what they did. What
Fit
a
them all
job. Well,
in.
congratulations to the
Well, thank
Larson
you.
family. Your family, your
Thank
friends
you.
must be so happy.
Thank you so much.
And
you
what
so
a pleasure
appreciate
to
it.
meet you,
Thank
and great motivation for anybody.
Well, thank you. That's what we hope to be and
Yeah.
continue to.
Lots of good luck to you guys in the future, and wow, it was so fun to meet you. and
Thank
hear
you.
your story.
It was fun to meet
Hey,
you.
we're coming right back. I don't know if the next story can top this one, but we'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to this month's edition of In the Grove. Thank you so much for joining us. It's not every day that you have a very, very special guest like Congresswoman Tammy Duckworth from the 8th Congressional District come and visit us at our studios. We're very pleased to have Congresswoman Duckworth with us. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's my pleasure.
I mentioned to you when we sat down that I was amazed that you even had time based on what I've been reading about all the various projects that you're involved in.
I haven't done any Christmas shopping, so.
I can understand that, and everyone will just have to get over it, I guess.
Yeah, I think.
Tell us a little bit about why you're in Elk Grove, and tell us a little bit why Elk Grove, because this is an Elk Grove-based program, why Elk Grove is significant.
Well, Elk Grove is significant because it has the opportunity to lead manufacturing and our economy here, not just for the district, the 8th Congressional District, but also for the Chicagoland region, Illinois, and the entire nation. Elk Grove is home to the largest industrial park in North America. It's here in Elk Grove Village.
For North America.
In North America, yeah. Also a large concentration of the tool and die manufacturers. And so for me, one of my priorities has been to reinvest in manufacturing, making sure that we grow our economy. And one of the best ways to do that is to focus on villages like Elk Grove, where you really have put in the effort to support businesses that bring dollars into the community and allow America to be competitive globally.
To be competitive globally, absolutely. And speaking of Elk Grove itself, I understand that you've had several conversations and meetings with Mayor Craig Johnson.
Yes, Mayor Johnson has been really fantastic. I've reached out to him. We're working on some infrastructure projects where where Elk Grove is applying for federal grants, and I'm going to try to help support that, also state grants. We also just announced that the National Endowment of the Arts, I'm going to make sure I get this right, just announced a $10,000 grant to the Anelia Sinha Foundation in Elk Grove, which promotes arts and culture of India, so that's coming in. And as people are applying for federal grants and the like, whether it's government, such as the mayor leading the program, or a not-for-profit, or a community group, or a church, or contact my office. We're happy to help you apply for those grants and write letters of recommendation, and let's get some more money, federal dollars coming back in here. You pay your taxes, you might as well get that money back.
You might as well have the money come
to the
back.
community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This opportunity, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
with us today. It was indeed an honor and a pleasure to meet you. Thank
you
so
so
much.
much, Tom.
I wish you all the best for 2014.
Thank you.
Stick with us, and we're going to be right back.
Welcome back. I have the pleasure of interviewing the voice of Channel 6, Jim Heffern. Welcome, Jim.
Well, thank you for asking me.
You've been here involved with this program, with all different programs with Channel 6, the Park District. I understand we just had a new honor for you. What just happened recently?
Well, I was honored, humbled, excited. Last Saturday, the 24th of October, they renamed Bartram Park for me, and from this point forward, I'm told it's going to remain as J.M. Heffern Park. And the first thing I did was apologize to Mr. Bartram.
That park, well, it's gone through a couple different names. It was Bartram. As growing up, remember, we called it Verde Crest Park.
Verde. For a while, when they put the rocket in, it was called Rocket Park.
Rocket Park. Everybody had a different
Yeah.
name for it, but now it's wonderful, and no one deserves it more than you. You've been so much involved with the Park District, with when Channel 6 was part of the park, and now EGTV with the Village. I'm sure. And again, I say, people know your face, but they know your voice for sure. You have that distinct voice that you did all the sports, you've done the high school games, you've done interviews. I can remember watching elections. I don't know why I was watching them as a kid, but I was watching them, and you were covering the local elections on there.
Well, those were interesting. When I think back on them, we were the only of 5 neighboring suburbs, all of whom were Warner Amex at the time. We were the only ones on the air. So they would come from the other suburbs into be on the air with us. And I had no idea who I was talking to. So we had to go off the air to change guests. And I said, get me some cue cards so I know who I'm talking to. They did, and they held them up, and they were upside down. I couldn't read the name.
You probably were speaking a foreign language after that point. Just all the stuff that you've done in the Village and the Park District. One of the things, and I recall, and I'm old enough to get in there, but I'm not in shape enough, but you started an over 50 and an over 60 softball league, is that correct?
Yes, in 1997, as a matter of fact, Paul Swanson of the Park District gave me a night in a room to solicit guys and talk to them early in January about what I had in mind. And it was nothing more. Having grown up in Chicago, you played 16-inch softball. And in the Army during the Korean War, I found out that only Chicago and Detroit played 16-inch softball. So I had an ad put in not an ad, a comment put in the Elk Grove Park District magazine, and sure enough, that January we had about 14, 15 guys, and I asked them all to be ambassadors and go out and spread the word. Our first game, first week in May, were 61 guys out there.
Really?
And I had their names from the Park District, so I made a list by age, descending. And when I was all through, I asked for 4 volunteers, and among them were Frank Zarnick, the former
Park District.
His team was named the Grumpies. There was the Good Old Boys. I'm going back 17, 18 years. But at any rate, they spread these 4. We had a number of 70-year-olds, and they were equally spread among the teams, and then 60s. And we started the season like that with 4 teams, and it's grown now. I believe the last season there were 16 over 50 teams, about 16 over 50, 12 over 60, because we had to move away from, we had too many games to schedule at 6 o'clock, and we went over to the park, Clark Park.
Oh,
Clark Park. We couldn't fit them in community anymore.
Oh, really?
On all 4 diamonds, because the over 60s are all at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, it's taken off, and then we have pickup games for over 70, and it's kind of funny watching them play in wheelchairs.
Well, I was going to say, I hope I'm walking by that time. It's
no,
great
we
to
had
see
a 85-year-old third baseman that plays every year, and he won't play second base or any place else. He wants third base, and it's interesting and fun to watch these guys.
Some of the things, and you've been around the station since it's been implemented. Tell us a little bit about the earlier days when things were starting. I know you said that you had started where, at the hospital?
Yes, well, the origin of, I came back from a Park District trip while I was a member of the board, and what I watched at wherever we were looked like home movies, and I said, we can do better than this. The Channel 6 was there, but all you could see was scrolling graphics and alphanumeric. So I talked to Jack Clays, who was the original at that point, still the original, but he at that point was the executive director, and Chuck Zedek, who was the mayor at that time, and I got together, and I had written a memo to Jack saying, this is, we ought to do something. This equipment is here, not being utilized properly. So we did, and at that point we had to broadcast from the basement of Lexington Brothers Hospital because it had the facility, and we weren't. They had in-house facilities, so we would broadcast, make tapes, and then play it over the air.
Oh, okay.
And it led into election returns, telecasting the election return, and grew into what it is today.
Well, and then it went from there to the Park District building?
Yes.
And then from there to the old
library.
And then from there to here, which I might also add, this studio actually is named after who?
There's a guy that I somewhat familiar with, J.M. Heffern, which
is an honor that's perfect for you because you've been involved with this station for so long. Pretty soon we're going to be naming a lot of stuff after you.
well, it's when you lie about your age, those things happen.
There you go. But just some of the things. Is there anything that sticks out that during your tenure doing everything that really?
Well, last Saturday, the 24th of October, was probably the highlight. I moved into Elk Grove Village on the 6th of August of 1959. All of my kids played in that park. It was known, as you mentioned, Crest Verde Park or Rocket Park. I don't think any of the original people there called it Bartram.
They named that later.
When the parks were named initially, they were all arborists. The names of the parks and
Appleseed, things like that.
But that's in terms of recognition here in Elk Grove. That's the highlight at this point.
Well, and I'm sure you're not done with them. You're still involved in things. Do you plan on staying involved, or?
Oh no, I'll be involved, and I'm not as active in sports anymore because I've put on a few years.
That 16-inch softball will do stuff to your fingers.
Well, it's I last May turned 83, so it's I'm slowing down a little
Not very
bit,
much.
but,
I've seen you around, so it's a pleasure interviewing you. I've talked with you about many things over the course of years, just your knowledge of everything that's happened in the village. So I'm sure if we could get you out in front of a crowd, everybody here would thank you for everything you've done. You've made this station pretty much what it is today. You've helped, and we're really proud of you, and the honor fits you for naming that park after you. So.
Well, thank you for the kind words.
No,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's very, very good for all of us in Elk Grove to have you around, so hopefully you're not going to go away anytime.
Oh, I don't intend to. As a matter of fact, I have to get a bigger lawnmower now, so my wife isn't. She cuts my lawn.
Well, I was going to say, even part of naming the park after you have to maintain it too.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to buy my wife a bigger lawnmower.
They didn't tell you that, did they? Jim, thanks again for being here. I hope we'll have you on soon again, because I'm sure with all the other stuff you're doing, we're going to probably give you another award. So
Well, I appreciate
Thank you
your
so much
asking
for
me.
coming.
Thank you very much.
we'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to the program, everyone. And my guest now is my longtime friend, and now someone I call sister. This is Miss Rose Lester. Welcome to the program, Rose.
Oh, thanks, Sue.
And
Thanks
I
for
say,
asking me.
well, I say sister because you and I now share something in common, which is the topic we are here to talk about today, and that is breast cancer.
Cancer.
And thank you for being open and willing to come and talk about something that is very personal. And thank you so much from me personally to being my go-to when I was first diagnosed a year ago. Your story went back almost 10 years, right, Rose?
Yes, 2008.
Would you
So,
like to share how you felt when you were told, the feeling that you had?
I tell you the truth, I wasn't surprised, because breast cancer, even though I had had the Brock test and had come through negative, my mother's 2 sisters and my cousin had all had breast cancer. So when they told me, it was like, well, I'm not at all surprised.
You kind of thought of it as a ticking bomb or something?
Yes, that was going to show
That's
up eventually. Yeah, which is why I was always determined to have the mammograms every single year.
So what should we convey to our audience here today about breast cancer awareness? The importance of
Mammograms.
Mammograms,
Oh,
yeah.
that's definite.
yeah.
And not to be afraid. I think
Yeah.
when people first are told that there's something, they panic. It doesn't always mean that it's going to be cancer. And at least now, there's alternatives right off the bat. You can choose,
Which way to go? I made a
which way to go.
choice that maybe others wouldn't have made. You were in a different place, and I know even your procedure was more involved than what mine was. So personal decisions, and but bottom line, look at you and me.
Yeah,
We're here.
We're here, and we're busy.
And who would even know, right? If we
Right.
didn't tell them, they wouldn't even know that we've been.
And that's it. I mean, there's probably a lot of people you meet that are cancer survivors.
Sure. That's the good news.
Yeah.
That the survivor rate
Right,
is
it's getting better and better.
yeah.
And there's so much help out there if you need it. So much counseling. There's survivor groups. You can go to the dietitian. They'll help you plan a healthy diet. Yeah.
Best we can.
Yeah.
Well, Rose, thank you so much for telling your story here on air so that our neighbors can hear it. And I know many, many people know you. You're so active in the community. So,
Well, thanks.
You're a
thanks
shining
so much
star
for having me, and I'm just very happy to be able to discuss breast cancer because I see so many people. They need some guidance.
and there's a lot of support over at our local hospital.
Thank
well,
heaven.
sister, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Love you. Thanks for being with us. We will be right back with the program.
Welcome back. My guests are today Officer Rick Meyer and Officer Mack. Welcome, Officer Mack. Welcome, Officer Meyer.
Thank you.
Great to have you guys here today. It's probably one of the first times I've ever been this close to a police dog, so I'm a little shaky right now, so please bear with me. But you're here today to talk about different things that Officer Mack has been doing for the Elk Grove Police Department. Oh, he's checking me out now. How about, can we start off with how long have you been with Mack, and how long have you been in the K-9 department?
I've had Mac for about 2.5 years now. Before that, I had another police dog here in the department for about 8 years.
Okay. So Mack's been around for 2?
Yeah, about 2.5.
It's hard to believe that a dog this friendly could be someone to chase someone down. But so I understand that Mack has been in part of an Olympic event. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we get the dogs from a kennel called Von Lick Kennels in Denver, Indiana. And once a year, we go back and participate in the K-9 Olympics. It's a competition that they have for various dogs from all over the world. There's some dogs from Colombia and Turkey that are present. There are bomb dogs. There are narcotics dogs that participate in various events throughout the week.
Now, when you say that, are dogs trained differently for different scents? That I mean, like say, is a bomb dog the same as someone or a dog that goes out and finds drugs?
No, it's entirely different how they train the dogs. It's the same idea on how you imprint the dog. However, you're never going to have a dog that is narcotics based and then also drug or bomb based.
Okay. What were some of the? I understand he won an event. What was the event he won?
He won first place in exterior narcotics searches. So what that was is you have a 6-minute time limit to search about 13 vehicles. And it's all up to him. I give him the command. He goes around and searches the equipment or the vehicles that we're doing. And I have to call the alerts based on what he's doing. So you get tested on how many of the finds you locate and also how quickly you do it.
Okay, and so
Plus.
he did it in the fastest time?
Fastest and most accurate.
Oh, okay. All right. What other events besides that one did they have to go through?
During the week, there's about 18 different events. Some are patrol-based, where everybody participates, including the bomb dogs. And then the other ones, you just compete. If it's narcotic-based, you just compete against the other narcotics dogs. And then the bomb dogs compete against each other.
Okay.
So there's probably about 100 dogs total, 30 of which are probably bomb dogs, and the rest are narcotics dogs.
Now, is this every year that something like this goes on?
Yeah, it's usually at the end of August every year.
Okay, and do we participate? Now, we have another police dog, Uber. Does he participate also?
Yes, he also goes, and there's several canines from around here go as well, from our training group.
Okay. Now, obviously, you live with the dog. The dog's part of your family.
Correct.
Is there ever dogs that don't gel with people, or?
There are. When we went to pick out Mac, we specifically were looking for a dog that had this kind of demeanor, so that we do a lot of stuff with the schools. So we want to make sure the kids get an opportunity to pet them, just like you're doing.
It's unbelievable.
You know, if I say the magic word, though.
No, don't say it. That'll be TV for us. No, part of me is like, it's so cool. This dog is so friendly, but I can just imagine.
Yeah, he's very laid back, and low key.
He could be. I also understand you did a Tough Mudder with him. Is that?
Yeah, one of the events at the Canine Olympics is what's called an obstacle course, and it's a 1.5-mile run that you do with the dog. There's various obstacles for either the canine officer or the canine to negotiate, and then there's also obstacles for both of you to negotiate. One of them in particular is it's a rope swing. So you're supposed to down your dog on a dock, and then as the handler, there's a rope that you swing out over the lake, and you're supposed to come back and land on the dock. Very few people are able to land back out on the dock, and he's supposed to stay there the whole time while I'm swinging out over the water.
Did he do it?
He stayed there, yeah. I ended up face first in the water.
Oh.
I've only landed it once in about 10 years of going there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I can't thank you guys enough for coming by. I think that anybody watching the show, the open house will be over with at the fire department by the time this airs, but anytime that there's an event where Mac is at, they have to come out and see how he performs. I mean, it's such an addition to the police department, and I thank you for being able to have the demeanor to deal with something like that. I mean, he's part of your family, so you're sending him into danger sometimes, and I'm sure that's got to be an issue.
Yeah, he's got special equipment that he wears. The VFW was kind enough to donate a bulletproof vest, and it's also, his vest is better than my vest. It's stab resistant. So if somebody just has a knife that they pull out and tries to stab him, it'll protect him. So we take a lot of precautions to keep him safe, just because he is a part of the police department, and the village has invested a lot of money in him.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know that the job that our dogs do is phenomenal, and what they can do to help out the police department is well worth whatever the costs are. So, well, Rick, thank you again for coming, and Mac, can you give me 5 or no? Oh, a lick will do. Okay, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
All right, thanks again. We'll be right back after this.